So Anna Kendrick has directed her first movie, and she also stars in it, and it is based on a true story. The movie is called The Woman of the Hour, and this is a story I wasn't familiar with at all. Now, I had heard, I knew what this was about. Kaylee went in blind. Yeah. I knew what it was about, but I didn't really understand the scope of it. So I was pretty impressed with, how crazy the story is.
Oh, yeah.
So essentially what happens in the movie is Anna Kendrick's character is an aspiring actress in Los Angeles, and of course nothing's going her way. She can't get any gigs, and so her agent books her on a show. She doesn't know what this is, and when she shows up, I think it's when she shows up, or is it before that? I think it might be before. It doesn't matter. But she finds out that it's the dating show.
Yeah.
Or the dating game. The dating show or the dating game?
The dating game.
I think it's the game.
Yeah, it's the dating game.
It was a show that was on in the 70s. I watched it as a kid, reruns. I'm not that old. But I do remember watching that show. One woman sits behind a partition, and then there's 3 contestants on the other side, and she interviews them one by one and then picks them based on their answers, and then she meets the 2 guys she didn't get, and then finally the guy she did get. And unfortunately for her, one of the guys that she is auditioning for her next date is a serial killer. And this is a true story. And when you find out, when I looked up the story, and then they have text on the screen. The text on the screen at the end.
Yeah. Oh man.
Was definitely when it's real stuff. This is the real horror to me.
Yes, absolutely.
It's when Leatherface cuts up someone, or Michael Myers stabs someone, or whatever. It's all for fun, and it's it's all just make believe.
Yeah.
But with this stuff, it hits so much harder. When I'm sitting there thinking, this really happened to somebody. This is so awful. Not that someone hasn't been cut up with a chainsaw.
Sure.
Or whatever.
Yes.
But when it is based... I know Leatherface is technically based on Ed Gein, but when you're doing the actual story...
Right.
And you're making the character look like it, and you're, recreating all the scenes, how they were and whatever. I don't know. It really impacts me.
Yeah.
I thought this was super well directed.
I did too.
I thought this was very well acted.
Yeah.
One thing I might have an issue with, I talked to my buddy Dylan about this, and he had a criticism of the movie that I was like, that's a fair criticism. And he said his issue with the movie, he liked everything else, but he felt that every character in the movie was pretty one-dimensional. And I was like, that's fair. That's fair. He said it's kind of like almost like a reenactment that you would watch on TV, which is pretty accurate, I guess. We don't really get into the meat. The only person that we even really follow all that much in their personal life is Anna Kendrick's character.
Yeah.
But we do cut back and forth between her and then his victims, and we go back and forth in time to really show what a psycho this guy is. But anyway, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I agree with you. I think that the direction was really, really good, and I had never really heard about this story before.
Me neither.
So it's very shocking, and I think you showed me a clip of the actual
real
guy
show,
on the show, and it's just it's one of those things that really makes you nauseous to think about, because
he seems like a totally normal guy.
Yeah, and he just went on television, and you just wonder how many other people. I mean, I know it's not every single person, but it makes you really wonder it's hiding in plain sight kind of a thing. So it's very scary, and just all the scenes where he's going after his victims and seeing all these young women being just
lied to
and taken advantage of and killed, and it's
so
really
awful.
just so heartbreaking and awful. But I think that the film, at least from my perspective, not knowing anything else about the actual facts, feels like a very respectful film. I know sometimes people are they're not a fan of true crime being made into a movie. For a good reason. I definitely understand why, like the criticisms behind that, but I think that this one did it really respectfully for all of the victims, and it was very interesting, and yeah, like you said, the text at the end, I mean, it's like, God, like when you find out like how many people the police like think he killed, that kind of thing is always just like,
I mean, he's
what?
Like if they're accurate, he's like one of, if not like the most prolific serial killer in American history. I had no idea who this guy was.
Yeah.
And the amount of people that they think he killed is staggering.
Oh man. Yeah, and I mean the performances were great. Like the guy that plays him, what I think is very like, because this is something, especially with serial killers, where they're always like, I feel like they're either like totally fucking creepy and like everyone's like, yeah, there's always been something off about him or whatever, or they're like the Ted Bundys that are like charming and everything, and you always wonder like, but how, like, why are your red flags not going off? But I think that the actor that played him did a really good job at like, he's attractive, he was like very confident, very like knew how to talk to women too. Like, I mean, aside from the like the red, he does red flag stuff, don't get me wrong, there's definitely things where he's like, he stays way past his welcome and he like does things that makes people, that would make you uncomfortable, but like the
in
other
2024,
the other
yes.
part of things, yeah,
in 1978 maybe not as much.
I mean, it might have been maybe more expected of like, yeah, the guy's just gonna do this, and I don't know, but he did a great job. Anna Kendrick's character too, like I really like when she's on the game show and she like I don't know if this really happened, like if I would assume maybe not, but it's fun because she gets given all of these, I don't want to give any spoilers, but it's fun, like what she ends up doing on the game show. She kind of she just takes things in a different direction than what the producers want her to do, and I thought that was very entertaining. So
yeah, she's bucking the trends of the time,
yeah,
and it's very fun to watch because the people on the show are just awful, and she just finally kind of lets it all hang out and goes with it and has fun, and that's when they start hating her. And I love that, right? And watching her audition, those scenes are always super uncomfortable, and I love to see it from the perspective of people who have been in the shoes of that, right? Like an Anna Kendrick or an Emma Stone, or anytime you have those scenes where they go in for the audition and it's like they're not even looking up from the table, they're not even seeing you as a person, the questions they ask, the things they say, unbelievable. The very first interaction we get with the casting producers and the conversation they're having. Oh my God.
So awkward and uncomfortable, and they're like this close to her. Like she's like literally like right in front of them. It's so funny.
Yeah. Daniel Zavato is as the actor's name. We know him from It Follows and Don't Breathe. So he's a pretty familiar face in the horror community. He's excellent in this. Yeah. He's just perfectly like charismatic, and likable, but also just the fucking most monstrous person under it. So really good casting, because he looks somewhat like they did a pretty good job of like the hair. He gained a little weight. They did the teeth. More like him. And I would love to, if we can get our hands on. We saw like a 2-minute clip from the show, but if I could see the whole episode. Oh man, I don't know. Airing,
it feels like a cursed. I don't know.
I'd like to see it.
I'm definitely curious, but I also feel like I don't know if I want to watch it too, because I would hope, like sitting there knowing that guy like killed people and
it's
went
terrible.
on to and all kinds of stuff.
Since this is a Netflix release, we probably might not get a physical. But if they ever did release a physical, I would hope that they would also release the episode with it. Yeah. That would be a very cool special feature. And then a behind the scenes. I would love if someone, I hope this prompts someone to do a legit documentary on this story so we can see like the true story. Yes. But fascinating story. Yeah. I mean, just super wild. And then we have other characters. We have a character who is in the audience as well. Yeah. She's quite good. We don't get much time with her. We don't, and then, it's been 50 years, so the guy got captured because the cops, so how he gets captured. You just don't know how he gets captured. Right. The way he gets captured, somebody does something that is so fucking smart
Yes, yeah.
And we find out that is exactly how she really survived and how he really did end up getting caught. I'm not going to say who it is or what she does, but I was like, wow. Wow. Talk about thinking on your feet.
So sad, too, though.
Terrible, but what a
so
smart
horrifying.
girl to be able to think in the moment, come up with that, and to be able to capture him like that is... I loved that. I was like, that girl is brilliant. So wait till you see it. It is on Netflix. I definitely think it's worth your time if you're into like
true crime.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. And as far as like the aesthetic and like the 70s, I thought it felt very authentic.
Very authentic.
The
to the
outfits
70s.
Everybody was wearing, the hair, the like music and the vibes and everything very 70s.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. And it wasn't super tropey.
No, it wasn't. It just
didn't
felt
focus
like
so heavy on the music
in
and
the
like
70s.
and like a lot of like stylization of shots that are going on for too long. Like she just made it like feel like it was shot in the 70s, which I thought was really cool. So a very cool movie. Yeah. Very, very cool. Very big, 2 thumbs up for me.
Definitely.
And it's on Netflix. So let us know if you watch it, and we'll see you in the comments.
Bye.
Adios.